Alrighty then. We just saw that changes in the real interest rate induce movements along the supply curve for goods today. And now the question we turn to is what generates shifts in that supply curve? Well, there are three things that we're going to consider. The first is wealth, meaning the present value of after-tax income. Changes in wealth are going to affect the consumer's decision about how much labor to supply. The second is current productivity. So changes in total factor productivity are going to affect the demand for labor, the supply of labor, and the position of the production function. And third is the current capital stock, which will have an effect on the demand for labor as well as the position of the production function. So the first example we're going to go through is higher government spending. And here we're not going to, first of all, remember that this is unproductive government spending. And so this change in government spending is not going to have any effect on the productivity of labor or capital. It doesn't matter then whether at the present time, whether we're thinking about government spending going up today or going up in the future. Later it will matter that we differentiate between those, but right now it doesn't. And what we know is that the government's intertemporal budget constraint requires that if the present value of purchases goes up, then the present value of taxes goes up. That means that the present value of consumers' after-tax income falls, or in other words, consumers' wealth falls. Because leisure is a normal good, consumers are going to want to reduce the amount of leisure that they consume, and that equates to shifting the supply curve out. So they're going to want to supply more labor at any given real interest rate. We see this in this graph. We start at point A, and remember that what's happening is the present value of government spending goes up. Therefore, the present value of taxes goes up, and that reduces consumers' wealth. So at any given wage, they want to supply more labor. Firms are willing to move down their fixed demand curve as the wage falls, because that's how they will get the marginal product of labor to fall to be consistent with what's going on with the wage. There's no shift in the demand for labor because by assumption, this government spending is wasteful. The higher level of employment will get the economy to slide out along this production function, and so higher employment will be associated with higher output. Notice that the slope of this production function, which is the marginal product of labor, right? It's delta Y over delta N, that this marginal product is declining as N goes up. And since we know that the wage has to equal the marginal product in equilibrium, it's a good thing that what we see over here is that the real wage is falling. Finally, then, what we have is that at any given real interest rate, the quantity of goods supplied today will be higher. And so this aggregate supply curve for goods today shifts out and to the right. So to summarize, a higher present value of government purchases requires higher taxes in present value. That then reduces consumers' disposable income or their wealth. They want to then supply more labor at any given wage, and that induces an increase in employment, which then translates into more output at any given real interest rate.